Thanks, Kim. Thanks, Andy. Thanks to the Cafe and the International Poetry Library for having me tonight. There's someone I know. Thanks to the people I know that came out for me tonight, and to all of you who came to listen. I'm going to start tonight with a good old-fashioned curse poem. This is from my first book. Is the mic okay?
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous, so a little out of breath. But I'm going to start with a poem from my first book, Dark Card, which is a book about raising a son with autism. And my son's birth was dangerous and difficult, and for a while I blamed the doctor for his autism. And I think you'll see from the poem I actually had a lot more to blame the doctor for. It's called Apologies to My OB-GYN. Sorry that my boy birthed himself too early, took up so much room in your prenatal nursery with his 2 pounds, 2 ounces, and did not oblige your nurses with easy veins. Sorry we were such pains in your ass, asking you to answer our night calls like that, and that he did everything so backwards, lost weight, gained fluid, blew up like a human balloon, and then shriveled. Sorry about how he defied your prognoses, skyrocketed premiums, weighted the costs in your cost-benefit analyses, skewed bell curve predictions into one long, straight line. Sorry he took so much of your time, being so determined to live. He spent today saving hopeless case nymph moths trapped in the porch light, one matrix dot at a time, and now he's asleep, blue wing beat pulse fluttering his left temple, there again, just like it did then. A friend of mine called that my ultimate fuck you poem. This next poem really comes from, oh, there's some people I know. There's my son, my other son. This poem is from my prior life, when I was a criminal defense lawyer in San Francisco. And one of my more interesting clients was Luther Vandross, who was, seriously, he was charged with vehicular manslaughter. He was in a big pileup, a bad accident. He lost control of his car in Laurel Canyon, and sadly the passenger in his car was killed. And that's where this poem comes from. It's called Blame. I've never read this in public before. But he told me I should, so I'm going to. Blame. Blame the olive tree that dropped its great gout of dark fruit onto the asphalt. Blame swerve and spin out etched in fresh virgin press. Blame natural law that made helpless bodies attract and collide, then come to rest in the acacia-treed canyon. The driver sat behind the wheel, his side not pierced, not yet. Yes, he was drunk, but only with joy for this lovely, live boy, now fused with the car, shrink-wrapped in leather and steel, and veiled in the webbed windshield. The boy who sang backup gospel like a bruised angel and was the hope of his whole Bronx block. Blame the last bright note that opened his throat and sank into pollen and dust. And my last poem is called The Innocence Project. You may have heard about this. It's the project that uses DNA to exonerate prisoners who have been incarcerated, some of them for decades, for crimes that they did not commit. I heard about this when I went to see a movie about it at a local high school, and I want to dedicate this poem and my reading to Wilton Dedge, who spoke the last line of this poem. And this is in the form of a, Kim, is it hustle? Guzzle? Anyway, you know what I mean. But the poem is dedicated to Wilton Dedge, who spoke the last line. The Innocence Project. The state argued its case 4 times in 4 trial courts in front of a judge who handpicked the 4 juries. When 3 of them hung, the state still pressed its case to have you strung up too, kept calling for juries. The 4th one convicted you, battery and rape, based on 1 hair and a jail snitch's perjuries. When he cracked on the stand and recanted, the DA still had the hair displayed to the jurors. Evidence that justice was not blind, but could see that blonde matches blonde. Perfect logic for juries. You were only 19. For the next 20 years, you sat on death row. The hair stayed in cold storage until science caught up, showed DNA cannot err like men can, lie, or spin stories for juries. When the swab yielded sperm from 4 men, but not yours, the state freed you at last, regretted your injuries, but did not redress them. You were left on your own, 20 years in arrears, beleaguered by furies. Still, you were exonerated, not a felon, free to vote and to fight, and to tell your stories to school audiences like this one, who at least give a shit, think it not fair, and that you were brave for continuing to suck air and not killing someone, your judge, or your entire 4th jury. Exact and aloof as math, this DNA proof. God's own signature, not subject to forgeries. Thank you so much.